I was browsing the free section of my favorite website when I found an ad for 2 free mowers being given away. The best part though was the location, which was only right down the street, which makes getting there a real breeze. Unfortunately, when I got there, I was met with a very difficult situation. Come to find out, they had posted the ad in error. It was supposed to be advertised for sale and not for free, and you'll never guess the excuses we're trying to use to get money for them. In today's video, we take a look at this ultra special Craftsman mower, and the problem is that I know nothing about it, but it's safe to say by the way it looks, it probably won't start. Of course, I don't like judging a book by its cover, but you have to agree, this mower doesn't look very promising, but I'm still going to give it a test start here in just a little bit. Now, I may have already fixed this mower in a different video, so if you want to see that video, there should be a link to it at the top of the screen or at the end of the video. But if there is no link, it just means that video has not been made just yet, but it should be very soon. But before I fixed it, I had to give it a quick cleaning, that way I don't get dirt in places like inside the carb, the fuel tank, or even inside the engine. And while I clean this mower, I'm going to talk about the somewhat disastrous interaction I had with its previous owner. Now before I get too far into the cleaning, I do want to at least try and use the key start. You never know, maybe it'll work. But as per usual, it's a no-go. However, at least the engine is not stuck and I don't feel anything strange while pulling on the rope. And also, if you want to know where the battery is for the electric starter, it turns out it's right here under the cover that says it's a key start. And if you know me and seen some of my videos, you already know I have plans on what kind of battery I want to use to replace this one with. And I'm for sure not going to buy the OEM battery for this mower because, as you can guess, it's much too expensive. And after getting the model and serial number off this sticker, I'll then check on the price for it, and just as we feared, it's just as much as a car battery. However, the battery choice I plan on using for this project should be only a fraction of the OEM battery, so it'll be a lot easier to handle. So there is no gasoline in the fuel tank, which is either a good thing or a bad one, depending upon how you look at it. Also on this specific type of fuel cap, be on the lookout for a white plastic ring in the cap because without it, the cap will not be able to vent any air. And if that ring is gone, your mower will start and work for a couple of minutes, but it's going to stop again after that and it won't be able to start until some time has passed, or if you take the fuel cap off and put it back on, but the same thing is going to happen until you fix the problem. Now the oil is in pretty bad condition as you can tell by its color on the paper towel, and not only that, but it turns out the oil level is non-existent on the dipstick, which is not a good start to this project. Now for the time being, I'm just going to add some used oil to the engine so that we can do our testing, but once we know everything is good with the engine, we'll do a proper oil change. Now if you didn't catch it at the beginning of the video, I said this mower was special and here's the proof. So as you can see, this mower is apparently part of the 80th anniversary lineup for Craftsman, which I'm pretty sure went unnoticed, but if you care about it that much, then here's your moment of recognition. So what does an 80th anniversary model come with then? Well, it appears that they're basically selling a fully loaded mower with front wheel drive and electric start, which doesn't sound all that special to me. So if they couldn't offer any extra features, I think the least they could do would be to give it a very unique color scheme. I would have liked to have seen any other wheel color other than white, and I wish this was a different variation of black for the rest of the mower as well. But unfortunately, that would have been too expensive, and you know Craftsman at that time was not rolling in money. It would also seem that they were using this bungee cord to keep the side cover open when using it in tall grass, which is pretty smart of them. But what was not very smart of them was not checking on the air filter, which as you can see is probably the worst I've ever seen. I'm not really sure how any air is supposed to get past this mess, but I'm going to keep it in there for right now, especially for our testing, because I want to see if it'll even start, let alone run. Surprisingly, even with that air filter completely covered in grass, it looks like there's just enough air to make it through for the engine to start, but with no gasoline in the fuel tank, it's not going to keep running though. Now the pictures the seller took of the two mowers must have been taken that same day because the mowers look exactly like what the picture showed, which is a dark mower with what looks like about 2 or 3 years worth of dirt covering it, and it's pretty obvious that this mower was not kept inside all that time. So what exactly happened when I went to pick up these two mowers this person was selling? Well, as you know from listening to my other stories about customer complaints, there's always at least two sides of a story, and this one is no different. So when I saw the ad, it was in the free section of one of the apps I like to use because that's how cheap I am. When I saw the ad, I glanced over the description briefly. After that, I looked at the pictures to see what I was hoping to get. Now, it was not posted as being at the curb, which meant no address, and I'd have to make contact to get it. And after doing just that, I then drove over to the location, which luckily was only right down the street, and I was there in only a couple of minutes. We then greeted each other and then started talking business. They then told me what they thought was wrong with each mower, but to be honest, most of it just went in one ear and out the other one. But from what I can recall, there seems to be issues with the self-propel on at least one of them, and both of them have not been used in a long time. And after they were done talking about the mowers, I then wanted to load them in the truck, but then they said something that I was not expecting to hear. They asked for payment, which caught me off guard. I then said, "Excuse me?" They repeated that they wanted payment for the mowers that they had posted in the free section, which doesn't seem right. I then said, "I thought these mowers were free," to which they said no, they were not, and they were accepting offers for them. I then apologized because I didn't see that the ad mentioned anything about money and that it was posted in the free section. And what they said after that was not what I was expecting. They said they had a relative post the ad for them and it was not supposed to be in the free section. Instead, it was supposed to be in the regular for sale section and that the ad was supposed to mention that they were taking offers for them. Now, at this point, I really didn't have much to say. I could either argue with them all day or I could play along, so I decided to play along instead. Now, the bigger question is, why would I even bother playing along with them instead of just walking away? Well, there are two good reasons. First, I know that with the economy the way that it is, these mowers will bring in a lot of money. And the second reason is that I really didn't have a problem paying for something that I know is worth some money. However, I wasn't planning on giving them anywhere near what I know they're worth, so that's the reason why. So I said to them, "Well, what do you want for them?" And they came back with $50 for the pair, which I thought was a bit much and countered with all the work and parts I'd have to invest to save these mowers. So I told them, "Look, I'm already here with the truck, so I'll make them disappear right now. So how about I give you $20 and call it fair, considering that the ad didn't say anything about making an offer?" They looked at me for a couple of seconds, I guess pondering the idea, and to my surprise, they agreed to the deal. After that, I took both mowers to the back of the truck, dropped the tailgate along with the ramp, and loaded both mowers up, waved goodbye to the owner, and drove off. Now, you'd think that I'd be mad at just what happened because, to be honest, it seemed like a scam. But in reality, I really wasn't even worried about it because I basically picked up this mower for a mere $10. And if anything, the viewers have told me that $10 for a mower that's not missing anything is a great price, even if it's broken and only good for parts. And if you've seen one of my recent videos about getting dead mowers, turns out there are goldmine in parts, from wheels, carbs, all the way inside the engine. So yes, I would have loved to have gotten both mowers for free, but not much is free anymore, so I better just get used to it or go home and cry about it. And besides, $10 a mower is cheap compared to other mowers that don't run or are missing parts that people are trying to sell for $50 or more. It's unfortunate, but the online markets have changed quite a bit in the last several years, and it's gotten to the point where more and more people are unwilling to give away a non-working mower. Even I feel the same way. If I had a mower that was mostly broken and was never going to run again, I would definitely try to sell it for a couple of bucks versus just giving it away. Now, this mower, from everything I've seen, even taking in consideration the low oil level, I think this mower is going to be fixable and worth quite a bit of money. Now, if I have to sell it as a push mower, it's not going to be worth all that much money, so hopefully the self-propel is working. We're going to find out soon enough, but if it's not working and it's going to take a small investment to get it going again, it would certainly be worth it. And so far from looking at this entire mower, it would seem that this mower was not what you would call taken care of, but for the most part, it's not bad. However, it would seem that the previous owner did not have an issue with running over anything that was in their way. It could either be large branches, rocks, or anything, because some of it is still wrapped around the drive axle. That could only mean that at some point the self-propel was working and stuff was getting wrapped around the drive axle, which I guess is a good sign. Of course, I really can't say too much when it comes to running over stuff too, because if I don't feel like taking the time to pick stuff up, well, the mower's going to take care of it for me. Now, I haven't had to clean the underside of a mower deck in a long time, surprisingly, and this one isn't terrible, but I like to keep the rust from getting a lot worse than it already is. Now, if you want to take the time to remove as much rust as possible and then treat the metal so that the rust doesn't get any worse, well, be my guest, but I'm not going to go that far. However, if this was a new mower and I was getting it ready to start using it on my own personal lawn, then yes, I would definitely take the extra steps to keep rust from showing up. Now, this is not a new mower and there's already rust on the metal, so I'm going to let nature take its course, which could mean a couple more years before holes start showing up. Of course, if you know me personally, I seriously doubt I'm ever going to buy a new mower because I don't see a need to do that, at least not right now. Now, unfortunately, for some crazy reason, I forgot to test if the self-propel would even work when using my drill to spin the pulley on top of the transmission, but you'll be seeing more of this mower very soon, so don't worry about it too much. So at this point, this mower's been sitting here for about an hour or so, and most of the water that was on it has dried off, so I can begin the process of putting everything back onto the mower. So my final plans for this mower is to make sure that it starts and runs and that the self-propel works like it should, and finally get the key start working again. So hopefully there's nothing wrong with the electric starter, because a replacement part would be more than what this mower is worth running. And if you think I'm kidding, just look up the part number for the starter and you're going to be picking up your jaw from the floor. Even the aftermarket part isn't going to save you on this one. Now I know most buyers don't seem to care about electric start, but if it's still functional and I can get it working for hardly any money, then I think it's worth it. Of course, I always have the option to just keep this very special anniversary edition for myself, but to be honest, I think it's a great mower. However, I like how my personal mower cuts the grass though. Now as a backup mower, yes, I keep it for that, but if you hadn't guessed it, I already have a couple of backups, all of the same brand, so I don't think I need a third backup mower. Now I do have a few of these key start systems taken from other mowers that I've had to recycle, and I've tried to give them away to other people to put on their mowers, and so far all of them have passed on it. I guess the idea of a key start mower seems nice on paper, but it would seem that most are unwilling to use it, take care of it, or even bother to add it to an existing mower. I know that one day I'm going to be old and very frail, but I'm still going to try to mow my own yard, and a key start would definitely help out in that situation. And as for what happened with the seller, it wasn't that big of a deal, and to be honest, I think I got the better part of it. So my question is, do you think I made a mistake in buying what was advertised to be 2 free mowers? Do you think I should have just stuck to my guns and said, hey, I'm not buying these because the ad didn't mention any money? Or do you think what I did was fair, and would you have done the same thing as I did? Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.